Hello, hello, I am back. It has been about 158 weeks since I put out an episode. That's a 1.6 million minutes. But I really enjoyed doing this, so I'm coming back with some interviews and vignettes and things like that. My life has changed more these 3 years probably than any other 3-year period of my entire life. And you know what? Things are going pretty damn well. First big news, I'm playing an acoustic kind of electronic show for Jared Hart's record release at CROSSROADS in GARWOOD, New Jersey on August 28th, and there's a ticket link in the episode. I'm so excited about this. Jared's playing, obviously, and so are my pals Mara Weaver and Worse Off. Our new record, Everything I Ever Saw, came out a few weeks ago, and the response has been absolutely incredible. I cannot thank you all enough. I'm working on a solo, electronic-ish record under the name Tombs. The record is going to be called Old Man of the Woods, and that's going to be a whole thing. I'm really excited to share that with you guys, and I'm going to do a whole series on here when the time comes. Oh, and details will be coming soon, but I'm going to host a panel about UFOs in Philadelphia on September 18th at a really cool outdoor showing of The Day the Earth Stood Still. I'm really excited about that, and there's more details to follow. Huge shout out to Kate Hills for letting us record this podcast on her porch at Little Eden in Asbury Park. It was a perfect day. The sea breeze was fucking incredible. And last but not least, this episode is brought to you by Russo Music, my favorite music store in Philadelphia with spots in Hamilton and Asbury Park. I had some big technical issues today, and Russo really came through and hooked it up so that we could record the episode. I've been recording things for 20 fucking years, and, you know, still 2 microphones proved itself to be too much of a hassle, so thank you guys so much over there. All right, without further ado, here is Jared Hart. Love you. Bye. I'm just going to go for it if you're ready.
Is that going?
Nope. The worst podcaster on earth.
Listen, this is a trial run. You're
It's
just getting
true.
back into it.
You know what? You're right.
Many years off. And here it is.
All right, yeah, now it's working. I need to do the thing. There, that'll probably work. I should get a clacker.
That would be nice.
That would be really nice. Nice. Hey, Jared, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast. It's a great return.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm so excited.
It's great to be here.
Fucking pumped, man. I'm really, really excited, first off, for the show that we're playing together. I only play like one acoustic show a year, typically, maybe 2, and this one's going to be so much fucking fun.
It's going to be awesome. It's the best lineup in a long time. And, it's CROSSROADS, so guaranteed pleasure and fun.
Absolutely. Going to be insane. We got to get a couple Andy Diamond stories in today if we can.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple dozen in the pocket.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for sending me the record. It's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Midnight Motel. I just got to say off the bat that using a liminal space like that, like the motel, as kind of a vehicle to tell that story and being the setting the whole time, just like is such a great idea to me. It's it works so well, especially spending so many years on the road and being in places like that. It's really fucking cool. And you said the idea's been cooking for like 10 years?
Yeah, almost exactly at this point. The whole thing started with first record. I needed to do a video, which we went down to Atlantic City, and my buddy Dave, who at the time I didn't know well at all, he kind of just reached out and was like, hey, I like this music and I just want to make a video for you. And I was like, cool. I'm super broke and don't really know anybody doing this right now, so any help is so welcome. So at the time, we were going to Atlantic City a lot, and we booked a room the night before, and as it turned into it the next day, and I woke up to about 30 missed calls from this guy, Dave, and he was sitting in the parking garage for about 2 hours, and I had to go find him, and I was still in a state.
Yeah.
And I find him, and I was like, I'm so sorry, and he was very angry for good reason. And also my buddy who was in the video, Greg, there's a reason it's him in the video and not me, let's put it that way. But there's an image Greg took of me and Casey on the hotel bed, kind of like Hotel California vibe, where I'm literally like laying across it, holding the neck of my guitar, and she's laying in the other direction. And from that image, I've had this whole thing about a hotel, and I didn't know what to call it. It's gone through different names of the hotel motel thing. And then I started going out to California a lot in Palm Springs and like that whole Palm Desert, like kind of weird time capsule out there, and just Vegas and like the outskirts of that. And when you start we have a thing with hotels that's different than the rest of society's
Sure.
attachment to
Yeah,
hotels.
yeah.
And I don't know if this is the same for you, where after sleeping on couches and floors in some crazy places for so long, that like one time you get the hotel and you're sharing a bed with a bud, it feels like you're like killing it. You know?
Yeah, the
You're-
king.
You're like, there's a bathroom here that's semi-clean, maybe.
Totally. And no one else is going to be in it, and it's probably going to work.
Yeah. Like there's maybe some working AC. It doesn't smell like cat piss.
Yeah.
So when you realize that there's like these different microcosms existing in like one building at the same time, with all these different people that don't know each other,
Yeah.
different issues, there's a reason each one of them's there that you'll never know. No one's talking about it. That just kind of became the backdrop for the whole record.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it hits so close. Like you mentioned, we've spent so much time in motels, but if you're like anybody who even hasn't, there's such a trope within popular culture. You know, there's so many great movies where the motel is so central to the like transition of a character, whether it's like
Yeah.
you know like a movie like Pulp Fiction or something,
Mhm.
and also just where their locales is. If you tell somebody to just picture a motel, they're probably going to picture a southwestern one or like a
Yeah.
desert one, like you mentioned. The way that buildings and shit are preserved in such a different way without the humidity like that, it's already just nostalgic without being nostalgic. Even on the drive over here, which I suppose will set the scene. We're at Little Eden on the porch, where I've had some of the best conversations of my life.
Yeah.
A couple blocks from Asbury Lanes from the Atlantic Ocean. Driving in here, there's so many of those old motels, like on 138
Yeah.
and stuff, that are overgrown that just look like they have the craziest story to tell. I love it.
And it's one of those things, again, like there's somebody there seeing all of this all the time. Like there's like a keeper there, like I think about that, like the person that's seen it all in some of these weird places, including the band rolling in at 3 a.m,
Yeah.
stinking like shit. And then there's like a family rolling in, or a single mom with a kid rolling in, or some dude that's like running from something. There's always, and this person's just there, non-judgmental, handing you the key. For better or worse, this is what you get. It's like I don't know, it's something when you really think about it. When you think of a word too hard and then it starts to feel weird. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, we just all do this. Like
Exactly.
we all stay in these places, and it doesn't feel like that. They're like, if you go to Europe, the hotel feels very different.
Yeah,
like,
it really does.
almost too.
Maybe it's the motorway part that makes it different. In Europe, it's like you feel like there's an inn culture, for lack of a better way to describe it, for 1,000. Like Jesus was born at an inn. You know what I mean? I guess obviously it's Middle East or whatever in the story.
Interesting.
But, just so ingrained. It seems so ancient and different. For us, it's like this thing. They didn't exist until the 50s. And a lot of them are from that time still. Look like they're from that time. So it's like a unique snapshot of American culture.
They feel different.
Yeah.
It is a uniquely American feeling, these motels and stuff like that.
I always thought it'd be really an incredible way to retire would be to own a motel, or to own a bed and breakfast, or at least be like the guy at the desk after spending so much time traveling and
The keeper.
meeting other people, and you just get to be that little person in that part of their person's journey. I thought it'd be really fun.
Where
The
would you do
innkeeper.
it?
Oh, that's a great question. You want to say the woods or something, but then it's just like people leaving this, like coming from the city. I guess you'd want to do it somewhere where people are actually traveling. I don't know. I could see one in South Philly
Yeah.
when they ban Airbnbs eventually, or when we're all plugged into the same server. I can host the part of the server that is the Airbnb.
The virtual one.
The virtual one.
Yeah.
In the metaverse.
That's a good. I'd be curious where you're running this in.
I haven't got that far yet. I
Yeah.
love the fantasy of it, but I
Yeah.
haven't really thought about that.
And B&B over like a full on like motor inn with the 2-floor.
Well, that's the thing though, because the motor inn has that part of it where it's like some people stay there and they're like,
Permanently.
permanently stay there monthly. My favorite was always the construction cruise, especially in like in the Gulf, kind of post Katrina, and also with the different industry changing there. Every time that we would stay down there, there'd be just so many work vehicles and 20-year-old dudes with like orange vests on, getting hammered,
Yeah. Big
just
time.
living there.
Yeah. Interesting place.
Yeah, pretty fucking wild.
It's an interesting thing too. I think as a musician with these places, because like just carrying a guitar case in opens conversation sometimes, very unwanted sometimes, especially when you're keeping an eye on your things. But if it's just you and a guitar, those guys start talking to you at the bar, and it becomes this weird. Now we're here. We're all here.
It's like I know something about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to find a place where you could back the van doors up against a concrete so nobody could open them physically. It's like the ultimate club.
Well, that's...
what was those things they put in a car not to get stolen from the 90s? There's people still use the club. That's
the red bar over the steering wheel?
Yeah, so you literally can't turn it past your legs.
Mm-hmm. They can still break a window, I'll tell you that.
That's
from experience. Speaking of hotel experience.
Yeah.
They can definitely get in, but that's a different trauma.
Exactly. That's a whole thing. Go down getting robbed. Too many times.
The worst, man.
Speaking of Montreal is where we're going next, and that's where we've been robbed the most times.
It's happened.
For sure, yeah.
Multiple times.
Not been robbed, but the van has been burgled. We'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had, so we were told by the people who live there that it's all bikers, and they have it set up with like lookouts and shit. That was where they famously stole Madonna's tour bus.
Oh, wow.
Like someone stole the actual bus, which I think is pretty fucking
kind
funny.
of respect, yeah.
Yeah, kind of respect. If you're going to go that high, you know? But yeah, we had the van window smashed. And like I remember one time I was walking with Greg down one of the streets during Poozza Fest, and I saw my fucking homework on the ground. Or Greg's homework. And we're like, oh, that's weird. That notebook looks familiar. And they're like, oh, that's from the van.
I also...
And the van was smashed, yeah.
That CRV I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Took it up to Poozza. Went and got poutine middle of the day. Came back panel window smashed open.
In the middle of the day?
Middle of the day, and I had to use Scandal stickers. There's a great picture of Corey from Let Me Run helping me put it like so it can get across the border, you know? And that was the only time crossing the border where the American side, they were just like, oh, they got you. And he just
waved you through.
Sorry, kid. They got you. The homework thing is funny.
Yeah, that was
I love
fucking
that.
wild. And that also wasn't our van. I don't know if we ever told them we were borrowing Title Fight's van, and we got it fixed. We gave it back to them.
Before they knew.
Before they knew. We had to have told them.
That was really...
That was a long time
That was respectful.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? They didn't smash the window. They punched They used like a pneumatic gun or something and punched like a No Country for Old Men style and blasted the lock out of the side door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clean.
Maybe it was like a hammer and chisel. Who knows? But
Montreal soon. When is that?
that is August 21st, I believe we're playing, or the 22nd.
Warped?
Playing 22nd. Yeah, Warped Tour.
I'll be there.
You're going to be there?
I'll be there with Thursday.
Oh, let's go. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're all going to stay for a vacation.
I like this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well,
That
now
rules.
I have to be careful, too.
Yeah, true, yeah. We're flying in this time, and I don't think the Montreal bikers are at that level yet. I'm fucking hijacking planes.
That would be... You don't get... We're going to cancel that.
We're gonna cancel that.
You don't see that as much anymore.
No, what if the Quebecois separatists came back, though? Just started doing shit like that? That's probably not funny to Canadians, but...
It would make good TV, I guess. At least something new to dive in on.
It's the final season of Sons of Anarchy as they go to... It's the Quebecois biker gangs that they have to defeat.
It jumps the whole Fast and the Furious shark, you know?
Yeah.
I fell asleep on the couch recently, not to segue this totally off the rails. And something was playing, and as it continues playing into other things, I woke up to a lot of loud noises, and I was like, what is this movie? And it was like a new Fast and the Furious, a newer one.
There's like 8 of them.
I think there's more than that.
Damn.
It was one of the most insane 10 minutes post waking up that I've ever witnessed. And I'm just curious. Like, I have no context of the in-between. Like, I remember the first couple, and it was like, yeah, we're racing. It's like brotherhood and cool.
Yeah.
And
a lot of great lines.
This was something else. So I'm not sure if you're into just random throwing something on to kind of dig into, but wow, it was really something else.
Yeah, I'm into a let it play. You
Yeah.
know, if something's on, or if like the YouTube rotation rolls into something wacky, I'll just let it roll. I think the Fast and the Furious is one that I would definitely do. I think that I could be mistaken, but not the new, but the first Fast and the Furious is coming back out in theaters this month.
Big demand.
Yeah, big demand.
Pushing the Odyssey out.
Oh, I did. Gotta compete with the Odyssey. There's a new generation. Turning my car heads. I did read an essay one time that was really fascinating, and it was about the Fast and the Furious later movies, and a particular phenomenon happens in a bunch of blockbusters now, and that is that in the contracts of those massive action stars, they can't lose a fight or something. There's like certain stipulations that exist within the story. So if you watch those movies, it'll be like, I don't know, Jason Statham versus The Rock versus the guy from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
And there'll be a big battle, and they're fighting each other and getting thrown off buildings or whatever the fuck, but no one wins. No one's clear victor of that fight. And the story kind of veers into, whatever moral ambiguity that exists there because contractually they can't lose.
Wow.
So you can just, once again, just tell the dumbest fucking story possible.
I wonder what level you have to be at to start writing that into your contract.
Illuminati, probably.
Yeah, it's that deep.
That's probably that deep. Yeah, you got to go to Davos, get invited out there for that kind of shit.
Like some shit going on in Malta or something.
Yeah. That was kind of maybe you could relate to this as we've gotten longer in our music careers. I thought that there was going to be more wacky shit interacting with like bigger bands, and it turns out everybody's pretty fucking normal.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be a lot crazier, but it's a lot of like people playing Candy Crush and shit like that.
Yeah, that is a thing. I don't know if it's still. There's a couple of those block like video games going on. I see.
Yeah. Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, I haven't witnessed as much of an Illuminati, or even just the stories that used to be, like crazy stories.
Yeah,
I feel like
true.
everyone's really mellowed out, which is probably a good thing for everyone's health and, long-term life.
Yeah.
But, it's good stories, good.
Yeah, good
once
stories.
in a
great.
while.
There's none of the like crazy rock star shit. We did hear somebody early in our career told us that Puff Daddy was fucked up. And that was interesting that all happened. So it was kind of like something that somebody told us, that he was all like, fucked. How do I put this? I'm not going to repeat exactly what they said, but it was like, on the fringes when it came to partying and sexuality. And we were like, oh, that's interesting. And then turns out it was an understatement of a lifetime.
Yeah, you had the inside lane there. You knew what was. Did you?
Never interacted with Puff Daddy.
No, that's good. Never wanted to do a Bad Boy.
No.
Menzo's record.
No, although the first soundtrack, like one of the first CDs I ever bought was the Godzilla soundtrack because it had that Jimmy Page,
the
Puff Daddy song on it, but the song was not on the soundtrack.
What a great soundtrack! Wallflowers covering "Hero."
Oh wow,
Hero.
I forgot about that,
dude. Weird video where one of those was that early 2000s, late 90s. When was that? But it's the time when the video is clips from the movie, and then they fade in the band playing somehow, so you just have Godzilla.
Yep, that was big then.
While they're singing that song,
just destroying buildings.
Right? That had to be the Godzilla soundtrack. I know I'm remembering that right. Yeah. I remember when Mercy Union was working on White Tiger, I used that soundtrack as an example of where I wanted. I was like, I want one of these songs to feel like it should have been on the Godzilla soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, mission accomplished.
So speaking of records and recording, onto the Bridge. Is Bridges the second song on the record?
Yes.
So yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
To the nature of Bayonne being surrounded by
Hell
bridges.
yeah.
There's so many times that I looked up coming to visit you, like I did. That was one of those things I said I was going to do and never did. Now you live down here.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was fascinating that if I wanted to get there from Philly, there was no way to get there that didn't take like 4 hours because of shooting up and backtracking out.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to grow up kind of disconnected but inside of New York, basically?
Fascinating. As a kid, I didn't notice it as much. It felt like we were pretty attached to everything.
Yeah.
You would think, the funny thing now is there's been Airbnbs popping up in Bayonne over the last 5 or 6 years, which is wild.
Yeah.
I haven't witnessed it with the World Cup thing, but like I'll see people with Yankee jerseys on coming off the light rail at like 2 a.m, the last train. It'll say like you're 16 miles from the Bronx or whatever it is, or 9 miles from Brooklyn,
Yeah.
But it takes you hours.
Yeah.
And multiple trains, multiple bridges, multiple car rides. So there was this idea of we're right here. You always felt like everything was close, but it wasn't. So it felt, you kind of got tricked. Going to the city was an adventure still. You had to like get on the light rail, get to Jersey City, take the path to Jersey City, then take a subway
Yeah.
So there was like this mission to it.
Totally.
But the fact that we could do it always felt pretty cool. Like we were there.
I mean, it's got to be so liberating. For not that much money, you could get to the city. You know,
It was
ride a couple of trains.
It was cool.
The independence.
Yeah. And then the fact that, you know, when we started touring, Boston is 4 hours away. DC's 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Philly's right there. Everything was drivable within a certain amount of time. But getting older and everyone's moving, you know, people left Bayonne, then everyone was in Jersey City for a while, which was cool. Jersey City became a place now in my backyard that I've been going to my whole life, but now there's music happening and art happening, and a venue pops up there that's an 800 cap venue that I was like, oh my, this is 10 minutes from my house, you know? And then that slowly all starts to disappear as people get priced out and, you know, life changes. So for a long time, it started to feel isolating.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you one thing, nobody visits Bayonne. They
I
just
said I
don't.
would. I lied.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
I know. I know. You know who you are.
Yeah.
But you accept that, and you accept that it's a pain in the ass, and B, you know, it's not a ton to do once you get there. The pizza's good, very good. So you could feel that, though, you know, that it, even though you're right there, you're not there.
Totally.
It's kind of a bizarre thing, and it is a weirdly unique place. It doesn't feel like everywhere else in Hudson County, you know, like there's parts of like it just has this thing, this specific feel. I can't really describe it. But yeah, getting in and out of it, I was telling you before, even just coming home from tour and then you get to that bridge and you're like, now I'm in traffic for 40 minutes just so people can get somewhere else, not even to the place I'm going to.
Yeah.
They're just only here to get out of it or go somewhere else. And it becomes this constant, like, the feeling of getting there and back is anxiety ridden. So,
totally.
Wild place. It really is a crazy place to live. I love it. I will always rep it. But
was there, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody from, I think, Band of Brothers was from there? One of the famous characters?
like the actual soldier.
Yeah, the actual soldier.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
there was a couple
statues, a couple tanks lying around.
There's a couple. You know, the VFW hall off the block probably has some info on that.
Yeah, yeah.
There's been some characters out of Bayonne.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
Do you know about Chuck Wepner?
No. Name is extremely familiar, but...
So he was a boxer who notoriously fought Muhammad Ali towards the end of his career.
Ah, okay.
And knocked him down. And there's like the famous image of it. It's like the one you could. This is part of the podcast. You show that it like does a spin.
Oh yeah,
move,
pop it up in the
and
cool.
and it's him knocking him down. Ali says he stepped on his foot, which is so awesome.
That is awesome.
He says he knocked him down, but he went. I don't know if it was 12 rounds. He went very far. They had to call it. He was called the Bayonne Bleeder because he had these high cheekbones.
Okay.
And he was just covered in
hit
blood.
the glove, yeah.
But he was like, I'm not going down. Like, I'm going the full thing. Stallone finds this story and turns it into a very famous movie called Rocky.
Never heard of it.
It's based off of Chuck Wepner.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And they
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the whole thing. Chuck's cool. He's still bopping around. He drives a Lincoln, says the champ on it.
Wait, that's fantastic.
He's awesome.
That's my favorite part of the story. He's
Champ.
still walking around with the Lincoln and it says champ on the front of it. That's so sick.
You could do a deep dive on it. It literally is like some of the coolest Bayonne shit. But yeah, so Chuck was there. I think Shaquille O'Neal was born there, spent some time there. Zach Wilde was born there.
Oh, no shit. Oh, yeah.
George R.R. Martin.
Nice.
Yeah, fabled place. Come visit.
Yeah.
Come, let me know. We'll go get pizza.
That
And
does
you've
sound
all been
incredible.
saying you visit for a while, but still waiting.
Gotta make it happen.
Yeah. But yeah, Bridges.
Bridges.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. So where we grew up in Scranton, there was, a lot of people think different things about it, which I always think is really funny. Like some people think it's like, like a mountainous place, like in the woods or in farmland or something, and it's not. Some people think it's really, really close to Philadelphia or really, really close to New York. And it's not. It's closer to New York than it is to Philadelphia, actually. But it's like a really tiny Pittsburgh in a way. It's like an old coal, money from coal in the late 1800s, and then was an industrial place, and then the population is now like a third of what it was or half of what it was, and there's a lot of empty churches and bars and shit like that. But the routing, so the blue route, they call it, down in Philly, 476, the turnpike that cuts up through Pennsylvania, it ends in Scranton, starts down there and ends in Scranton. Also 84 starts in Scranton, ends in Boston. 81 rips right up through it, so it is like a major place where there's lots of people passing through all the time and not necessarily going there. So I think that's an interesting way that you looked at coming home and leaving from Bayonne, because you're just kind of like jumping on. Yeah,
everybody always says, like, I have a lot of friends who worked a job and drove through Bayonne. It was always a through, you know? It's not like, hey, I'm in Bayonne. It's I'm driving by Bayonne. I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me. You didn't take the exit. It's 14A. You could just pop off quick. There's a diner right there. Oh, no, I'm just going to work. That was always it. Hey, I passed Bayonne, or I drove through Bayonne, or I went to the Walmart in Bayonne.
Love it.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. It's not a destination.
Yeah, not necessarily a destination.
No, there's an OTB. That's about it.
Like an off-track betting place?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really... Well, I was about to say I haven't been to an off-track betting place, and then like about 6 of them popped into my head. And I realized for one reason or another I've been inside places.
Listen, just find yourself there once in a while.
It's true. It's always with one kind of person, too. They're like, I got to stop at it. And you're like, okay. Oh, you're betting on a dog race.
Psycho. I think we start
psycho behavior.
Betting on people races.
That'd be fantastic. Well, that's too easy to fix. Well, I guess you kind of do with football and shit now that our society is crumbled down to the depths of just complete unabashed debauchery of sports gambling on every
I can't take
face of everything. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I can't take it. As someone who likes to play a game of chance, it's too much. It's too much. And you're seeing all the stuff where they're catching players now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, how inevitable was that?
Have you watched any, like, the breakdowns where they'll take the court documents, like, that it'll say, like, this game, this time, and people on Instagram will, like, put the videos together and, like, show the person how they cheated? There was a basketball one I watched recently, and it was one guy had over 3.5 rebounds, and they're losing, and he is, like, fighting for his life for any rebound, leaving the rest of all his... He's supposed to be guarding this dude. No, he's crashing the board trying to get this rebound. I'm like, this is so sad.
It's unbelievable.
You know? Are you a sports guy at all? Are you into anything, like following it?
I like watching... I watch the Eagles every year.
Yeah.
I love watching football. It's such a fascinating game to me, and I like to go to sports events. I don't follow them closely.
Yeah.
But my brother follows them super closely. And my cousins and my brother will text me once in a while and be like, make this bet. And every single time they've done that, it wins, which is pretty cool. Because they'll be like, oh, yeah, we're so sure in this. They love it. I know my brother has taught me a lot about sports betting. He's not like anything different than what it was like when we were growing up.
Sure.
Definitely very small amounts of money and really fun. Because he follows sports so well.
Yeah.
Or so closely. And I know, I know people who follow markets very closely and make like little bets on stocks and shit like that, and that's the same exact thing. It's just dressed up different.
Yeah.
But it's a wild scene, especially moving into the world of prediction markets, which they're calling not gambling, just fucking hilarious on itself. But you're starting to see people cheat that, so it's like sports betting. But my favorite recently was a guy, I think it was in France or in England, it was betting on the weather, because you can do that on a prediction market. You're basically, there's no bookmaker. It's just they host a bet, and people are like, I'll take it for this, I'll take it for this, and then they get a cut of the transaction. So instead of like coming up with the actual book, it's just like a bet between two parties or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was on the weather, and this motherfucker went out with like a portable hairdryer and held it on the sensor at the airport that was judging the weather.
God.
And used it to win a bet on a prediction market. Dude, it's getting fucking insane. One of the...
And he won.
Yeah. One of the members of the armed forces that was involved in the Venezuela, insanity.
Ton of money.
bet on it and won himself, quote unquote.
Well, then,
so it's getting crazy. It's just going to get fucking crazy.
It's one of the most dystopian things about everything. I mean, there's a laundry list at this point. But I saw that you can bet on wildfires happening. So people are actively setting them, which is like nauseating on another level. But yeah, this like, when I started doing any kind of like betting, going to Vegas or Atlantic City, there was like this fringe element to it of like, it's dirty. Like, this is not.
Oh, totally.
It's like,
I don't know how it was in Bayonne and in Scranton when we bet on sports when you were a young man. You had to go to a bookie, and it was like a whole thing. You had to call a phone number. It was like clearly illegal. It was like it was a little dangerous. Yeah. They would only do it on credit. There was no place you could like give cash. You just owed money. So people would always bet money they didn't have and shit.
There was a little edge to it, even though it probably wasn't. There's like an old lady smoking Marlboros in the corner, like it's not. Yeah. But there felt like this, like, and now it is permeated. Just like I went to a Yankee playoff game last year. I'm in the bleachers with my buddy, and the bleachers were like a very special place. Like, it's like the diehards are there. They're there every game. They're there all season. They're doing the roll call. They're
always yelling amazing shit,
and the most knowledgeable. Like every. Old heads, young kids, they know everything about everybody there. They know all the stats. There was like a unity, a thing to be there. It was like a privilege, especially in the playoffs, to be there. And I'm standing there, and it's against the Red Sox. So big rivalry. And a dude in front of me goes, "Oh, I just need a little hit here." And it's for the other team. Ooh. On a playoff game. And I go, "Yo, please do not tell me you're talking about a bet you made right now at a Yankee playoff game."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I just need a little hit. I just need a hit. No run." And I was like, what are we all doing here? Like, this is one of the most sacrilegious things I've ever witnessed. And it sat with me for so long, and I just railed on this guy the whole time. I was like, you're the worst. Like, you're actually the worst part about all this. And I realized like that happened multiple times during the game where like someone's celebrating something that is not important, and I'm like, guys, this is not the reason we're here. This is not. It just sports to me was a distraction from all the whatever else is going on, like something I can like for 3 hours just be totally focused on one thing.
Yeah, and it tickles it's like scratches such an ancient itch of like whatever tribal bullshit we're hardwired with. I fucking love it. I think it's amazing.
I like the whole, I love the thing when, especially with soccer, I'm not a big knowledgeable soccer guy, but I love the long storied histories of these clubs that become like, political, religious, like it becomes these like identifiers of these people in these towns. So to just beat you over the head with a betting line through the whole night on the screens, on the TV.
Yeah, that's the part that's disgusting. It's so bizarre. And like, you could just pine for there should be an edge to it. And I guess could be argued to be a little bit gatekeepy. Just like yourself, I like a game of chance once in a while. Like playing cards with friends is one of the best things. And I also don't want to tell anybody what they can and can't do. But there is a deep sadness to me that there's kind of seems to be a bit of a pervasive financial nihilism that permeates through everything, that especially with a lot of younger kids, that they think that the only way that they can get ahead is from this.
Really?
Is from like, whether you're betting on the movement of some kind of, tulip bulb, tokenized financial asset, like a Shibu coin or whatever the fuck, or to be able to hit a parlay. That's like the only way you think you're going to be able to get a car or a house or have a stable life and feel. It's mostly dudes doing the shit and feel like a certain level of masculinity and stuff. I think it's dark.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it's something like I've been thinking a lot about in where we're at, obviously political atmosphere, societal, like this whole hammering home the idea of what the American dream is, right?
Yeah.
And for me, like what we did as kids, getting in a van and being able to just physically do that, and maybe there's a chance that you can like create an environment and an ecosystem around yourself and the actions of you and your friends and your people that live outside of whatever is already built.
Yeah.
That to me epitomized that idea.
Oh, totally nailed it. It was contrarian in nature. It had to be opposed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that inherently was American to me, right?
Yeah.
The idea that you could do that and potentially successfully do that.
Yeah.
And now I've been thinking about it a lot recently of like, what is it now? Like, what does that look like in 2026? And that whole thing you're talking about of like, I need to have some knowledge, something that I'm aware of that can make me money really fast, and I'm the one that figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, that whole idea feels very uniquely American in this,
especially at this time. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a cynical viewpoint of it, but it's like who can grift, you know? Like what's
Yeah.
the thing that you can come up with like that?
yeah,
It's dark.
it is wild. But yeah, that track 4 is called Tilted.
Yeah.
And that is about someone who got a little too deep with the guy with the notebook.
Yeah, oh shit.
Yeah. And maybe did some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But that kind of whole song was that idea of, like, now you got to run from it, you know? Like, you dug this hole, and that's the thing I hope. You know, it's one thing to have some fun and how you doing? It's another thing to really get, and I think there's so many pitfalls now. Maybe that's the big part of it, where, you know, Atlantic City used to be far. You have to travel to it. You used to have to like seek this thing out.
Yeah.
And now
That's a really good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Of
Like,
course.
I feel like everywhere you look, there's a coyote drawing a hole in the ground that you're going to hopefully fall into, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
there's a clear separation between the two, and you had to physically go there to make it
Mhm.
happen or make that decision, and you end up in the motel room at the midnight motel dealing with the consequences.
100%. 100%.
Oh, yeah. And I get that kind of rolls into, so it's changed in that way, and that's another thing I wanted to ask you about. So you wrote the record over such a long period of time.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile the changes of yourself and the world while you're doing this constant thing? I guess that fits the metaphor of the motel, though, in and of itself, that it's going to be coming and going.
It is kind of wild that the whole thing at the end made sense. I put out a solo record in 2015, and there have been band records in between, Mercy Union records, and little by little I'd pull stuff to the side that I felt didn't fit. But during COVID was the first time I was able to sit down and just every day, like from the time I woke up till the time I was done, just work on music.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome thing because I had the time, and I was coming off of White Tiger, so it was like the biggest idea record, and the time that we had to do it felt like accomplished a lot with that, but I was still coming off of this production idea with it.
Yeah.
Like a more instead of less, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So I'm making these demos by myself where there's tracks. There's no real theme. I'm just kind of writing. I'm just kind of things that are happening. And I ended up with about 30-something songs that went into these sessions that were like 5 years of making a record, where
Wow.
I would go up to the woods to audio pilot, and it's just me. So I had Matt play drums. Matt Olson played drums, so I'd send him a group of songs. He'd come up, knock them out, and then I'd just go up when I could. So over time, it was just booking days and putting the songs together. And I know by the end of it, I'm like, I already have new things. I already feel better about the new things. I feel better about what I'm trying to say. Everything about where I was at felt clearer than when I was making those songs. So I started to have a real strange relationship with the songs and with the record as a whole.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I really, truly, almost totally threw something out that I had worked on for a long time.
Unbelievable. It's like inverse demoitis in a way. You're talking, you know, there's that whole idea that you hear the demo version or an early arrangement
Yeah.
of something, and you fall in love with it, and then when you record it, quote unquote, for real, you're like, I don't like this as much as I like the demo version. For you, you had this has changed in my life, or this has changed the way I'm thinking about it so often that I might just fucking cancel.
Fully. And I just...
Well, I'm glad you did it. First
Thank
off,
you.
we'll get that on the record. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that I had a couple people kind of talk me down off that ledge.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it is when you're so deep in something by yourself. Like, I'm curious about this, if this has ever happened to you. But, like, you at least have 3 other people to check you on.
Yeah.
If you're
True.
maybe jumping a shark. There was a thing with this record where I had 3 or 4 songs in the batch where I was kind of trying something, and I was like, I can veer off into this realm.
Yeah.
And then hearing it back later, I was like, I don't belong here. Like, what I tried to do was really important to the growth of, like, what's next. And I'm glad that those exist and we'll never see. Like, it got me to run through a wall that I know I shouldn't.
Yeah, it was work. Yeah.
You know?
You're doing the work.
And it's more about what I know now afterwards. But at the time, I was like, what am I doing? Just being so in my own head with no one else to kind of counter it and kick it back, except Rob, who was engineering and producing. And, you know, he's a blast to be around, but at the same time, he doesn't know what's in my head. You know,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
someone intimately knows your
Doesn't have
process and stuff. So,
The guidebook. Yeah.
yeah. And then when I finally whittled it down to these 10, I was like, oh, this is a big picture thing with it's a limbo,
Yeah.
you know, to me. In my life, that record, that time was a limbo. The topics were kind of that weird, you're certainly not a kid anymore. You're not in your 20s anymore. Things are real, but there's still this one arm in the past, one arm in the future thing. This like push-pull.
Yeah.
And when I realized, the whole time I was calling it a hotel motel, and when it finally hit me, I was like, oh, this is like not just describing the characters in these songs, but myself, you know, in every aspect. So
Yeah.
it's never happened before, which is kind of cool.
I love that you're talking about it that way. I think of that as like a reverse engineering in some ways. Like you reverse engineer the theme of what you're working on. You reverse engineer a type of meaning, not like to go and justify the art that you're making or justify the stories that you're trying to tell or just put spin on them because you wrote them while you're subconscious or whatever. Like none of that fucking matters.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting thing to do, to come back and be like, oh, this is what I've been talking about the entire time. I just didn't fully have it conscious yet.
Yeah.
Even with some like names of things or even some lyrics, I feel like that I've done that a bunch in the past. For us, when we're writing a record, we'll go in and be working on it. We'll have a couple of songs that we started with, get halfway through, and then start to realize, oh, these are the things that we're gravitating more towards.
Sure.
Almost like what's the tired and trite metaphor of like the sculptor's looking at a block of stone and pulls it out of it. Like I always end up looking at a bunch of ideas and stories and being like, well, what is the thing that I'm actually trying to say, or
Yeah.
why? And not without going too far down that, because in the end we're making like, you know, punk rock songs and
Sure.
rock songs. But yeah, I love that part of the entire thing. It's like a couple onion layers up from what you're actually doing.
That was something I feel like I had heard it described when I was younger, but I couldn't visualize it or feel it because I was never in that spot. you
Yeah.
know? To me, songs were always like, you had this idea, you know. I grew up in a house of Bob Dylan. Like my mom was obsessed. So if she was in the car or that was all that was allowed to play. My dad was into everything. Or Bob adjacent, you know, Tom was cool and Wallflower, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you listen to songs like that, and you're like, "There's a clear idea." You listen to Hurricane, like, this is a topic. This is about a person telling the story of this. So I always felt like that had to kind of come first, or at least like applied while writing.
Yeah.
And not just this like. The context can come after, and those are some of my favorite songs at this point. Do you have any like that where the context maybe even wasn't known when putting the lyrics down, but now are like a full-blown thing that exists?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, some of my favorite ones. So there's ones definitely where I came up with an idea or a line or the chorus first, but then one of my favorite ways to write is coming up with a loop, whether it is chord progression or even like a more fleshed out song, and I'll put it on a loop and just play it over and over and over again, and just start to like make phonetic kind of noises and just work with it until words start to kind of come out. And then I'll lock on one, and maybe I'll be like, "That's this fucking dumb lyric. It doesn't mean anything." And then possibly wake up the next day and be like, "Oh wait, that does mean something." And it may have meant something the entire time, and I just lost. We were talking about the context of it, and then come back and build around it, or like make an accident and then build something around that. And I love making it that way. I used to feel bad about doing it that way. I was like, well, it's not coming from like a very conscious place that is like a understood emotion. And then I realized as I got older that there's the whole point is to try to take emotions and translate them or put them in a way that people can hear, that you can hear, that makes them understand their feelings in a different way or experience their feelings in a different way. And so I love doing that. That's my little trick that I love doing.
Yeah, it's liberating too when it works, right?
Yeah.
Like, because
it can be spooky sometimes too. Love that shit.
Yeah. There's a couple on this record that worked that way, where after the fact I went, oh, like you said that, and I forget who I was having this conversation with a couple years ago, but a big thing about this thing that we do, and we're fortunate to do, is like just trying to be, it doesn't matter if people don't like it or like it, but is it authentically you? This is like a conversation.
Yeah. Is it honest? Is it exciting? That's like the two questions to ask,
And to me, I don't really know how else to be when it comes to the topics I'm talking about. And when I finally was able to do that whole, like almost free form, like I'm just letting whatever, again, it starts, the phonetically thing is important, right? Like you're fitting these syllables in, and all of a sudden, like, this word is interesting. Why is that word? Now, how did you connect it to this line? And then there's a whole story painted at the end that is something you didn't intend to tell. It's 100%. Allowed me to be way more personal, and like, it's maybe things I wouldn't have held a mirror to before if you were like, what are you writing about today? And I'm going to write about this really sensitive nerve. I wouldn't probably choose that in the morning. Yeah. But afterwards you did it, and it's done, and now you're like, well, here it is. Like, there's no other option now,
That's all. I love it. And it makes me think of, I don't know why I'm thinking of it. No, I do totally know why. It makes me a little bit jealous of some other music styles, or maybe just more intrigued and fascinated by, like, that song by Len, Steal My Sunshine, or like fucking just any song by War, where the shit is just so outrageous that you're spilling it out. And you're like, wow, imagine if that came out of you, and you're just like, no, that is me. I own that. Maybe Len wasn't a great example because that song's pretty sick. I love but just some of those 90s songs where they're just saying whatever the fuck, and you're like, I resonate with this so deeply, but it's something I would never bring to practice and be like, hey guys, check out this song I wrote. The chorus is, fucking the Chumbawamba song.
Yeah. I mean, think of how many Oasis songs feel like that.
That's a really good point.
And that I used to not really love Oasis growing up. I was like, I don't get it. And I often find funny in America with bands from there, they did it to Amy so bad where that's like just becomes a tabloid thing, and you assume it, right? Like you're like, oh, these guys are assholes, which they are. But also, what a perfectly planned thing, like really one of the last true rocker, like, we're just going to fuck everything up and be total assholes. That's the persona, even though this is all probably planned out for decades. But there's some lyrics in there that this makes no sense, but it's amazing. And it creates a context that I'm sure for us is different than what they had.
Totally. And it's so wild how deeply it resonates with so many people, like looking at like Beck, it's just fucking, reveling nonsense, but you're like, I love it.
Yeah. I remember Corey Brannon once getting on me about a band I really liked, and he was just like, it makes no sense. He was so, he was like, the lyrics, and he said one line into the next thing, he was like, and I was like, it's awesome. I was like, it makes sense to whatever weird shit I'm connecting it to in my head. And he was like, no, it makes no sense. Which I understand coming from Corey, where he's coming from. It's something I've laughed about when I listen to the song he's talking about forever. I always think of him yelling that.
So
this makes no sense. It's just made up.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So that shit is so goddamn good. I started listening to a lot of electronic music over the last couple of years, and there's a lot of awesome swing for the fences shit that people just yell out over electronic songs. There'll be like 3 lines in the whole song.
Yeah.
But they'll be fucking, it's so good.
Yeah. That's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
You know? That's something that, I mean, a LaBouche song, you have 1 line in it, you know?
Always.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, that's making a couple of connections with the electronic stuff, and that is like what we think of as a musician from the zooming out point of view of the human history. You know, like most musicians probably were just somebody that you knew and you only played for the people of your village or whatever for your entire life, or with the other people, and it was not like an integral occupation, or it wasn't like a larger format of telling stories. It just existed that way, and it's such a brand new phenomenon in our time to have that exist, and it makes me think of that in that way.
I like that. That's something that has been kind of cool for me too. Like, I think you can end up so immersed in it, and like, I don't know if this has happened to you, but there have been times where I just felt really swallowed by it, where I kind of can't see up, down, left, or right. And that idea that at the end of the day, it's like you are just supposed to be a storyteller. You're just telling stories.
Yeah.
And it's awesome if 5 people want to hear those stories. Like, that's so cool, and it's uniquely your story. And I don't know if I told you about this the other day when we were talking, but there's this other jazz artist that I've worked for over the last couple of years, Chief Adjua. And just hearing these guys in the van talk about their art and their craft was like mind-blowing, because it's so different than some of the vans I've been in over the last few years, where it's just a different, you know, we get wrapped up in a lot of other shit besides just what story are we telling?
Yeah.
You know? And the way he put it, you know, I'm probably missing a lot of the nuance that made it beautiful, but he was kind of like, we're a part of this long line, this long running story that'll be there before and after us. How do we add our input into it while also making it a valuable addition to the conversation?
Totally.
And it just made me go, holy shit.
Wow, that's incredible.
What a beautiful way to put that, and a beautiful way to describe the work you're doing and the work you're striving for, you know, like what the purpose of it is. And I really, like, every time I think about it, and if I'm getting frustrated about something, or if I'm thinking, or even overthinking it, like this record, to an extent of like, is what I'm saying worth saying right now, even, or to this group of people, to anybody, like, is this a valuable contribution to the conversation? It's been eye-opening.
Yeah, I think it's a valuable question to ask too, an important one, and it could go down the whole. There's like a couple of ways it could go. One is like you can ask that and be like, "Well, I'm not worthy of having a story," and that to me, at this point in my life, my mind will change again. I'm sure. I'm realizing a lot of that kind of self-deprecating conversation outwardly, like maybe within yourself means something, but if that's the thing that you're pushing about yourself, is like oftentimes a weird narcissism with more steps. You know, like a weird, like, no offense, like a Woody Allen-ish kind of situation, you know?
Yeah.
At least that's what I've been thinking about it recently. And then the other is like, what are we doing? You're just telling these stories, singing songs that bring people a lot of joy,
100%.
bring us joy. And then there's a whole new component of how it fits into a broader economy and the type of capitalism that we live under. And there's a constant hustle, especially on the way that it lives on the internet. So you're not only telling the story in the song, but so much of why even me and you, I'm sure are fans of other musicians, is the story that surrounds those things.
Yeah.
So you're telling the story like visually on Instagram or what? I mean, you and I are doing this right now. We're gonna get scraped by AI. We add some new facts to Claude.
Enjoy this stupid voice.
So much of it becomes that, and then you get people that you and I have both seen over the years that get this like weird persona attitude. Which, if the persona is wacky enough, I kind of back
100%,
100% back. Like Daft Punk wearing fucking robot masks to be performance art. Back it hard.
Super cool.
But then the kid in the band that's just acting like a fucking prick and isn't nice to people around them is not. It's not the cool one.
Yeah.
Like Oasis are actually cool pricks, not you.
Yeah. There's you can differentiate, I'm sure. Yeah. And I think that whole thing that you're saying there is I find that interesting. If you're saying it out loud, like, what do I have to contribute? Because for me,
or if you're like making it part of your story, I should.
Yeah.
For me and you to talk about it, I totally get it. Or to talk about it with your friends, or your family, that makes sense. But if the thing that you harp on over and over again is like a whole self-deprecating
identity thing,
I think I'm a little sus of that.
I think it's interesting to talk about the reasons for the sharing the stories too, because like to me it was like, I just love that I'm not the only one who thinks like this, I don't know if I'm sure we've gotten into these conversations where like you can go down such a rabbit hole that you're like, I must be the only motherfucker who's gone down this, who's opened this door today, So for once in a while, someone to walk up to the merch table and go, hey, that song about losing this person, and then they tell a story that not only feels exactly how you felt, but like frighteningly, and you're like, oh, this is just another human experiencing the many feelings and emotions that we all feel, and for a minute maybe both of us don't feel like we're on an island.
Exactly.
Exactly. Which is the coolest.
That's my favorite fucking part of this whole thing. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Hopefully there's a nice motel on that island, though, if you got to be there for a little
or not so nice. Hell yeah. But love it. That was very beautifully well said. Getting I think wrapping up towards an hour. I have a couple more questions for you, or maybe just one. You ever see a UFO?
This is interesting. I didn't know if we were gonna hit.
I didn't think we were, and then I just did it at the last minute. It's all right. Did you see? Oh well, we'll ease into it. Did you see any of the drones over here? The last, what was that? Like a year and a half ago.
If you ask Casey, she'll say I saw a lot of drones.
Fair.
She'll also say most of them were probably planes.
Sure.
Because I would ask her, is that a drone? It became one of those things where once someone sees it, you're looking for it. I lived near the airport my whole life. There was a drone sitting on the porch in Bayonne that came down the boulevard at 3 o'clock in the morning. A small drone, like a personal one.
Yeah, totally like a quadcopter looking kind of thing.
That freaked me the fuck out.
They're fucking freaky. They're dystopian looking. They're like what we've been conditioned to from the 80s and 90s to think of as like the evil technology.
So I think I saw a drone. Nothing that I was like... I did have friends like up north more that had like the ones that just sat there for a minute.
Yeah.
So what... And it's people that wouldn't really make this stuff up.
Sure. What's the weird part about the entire thing is that a bunch of people saw an excised amount of hardware in the sky, and there's no real good explanation for it. And if you want to knock it, like chisel it into like, well, how do you turn this into? Because it immediately becomes like, is this just a phenomena of people saying that it's a phenomena, like so many things are. But in reality, there were so many more law enforcement and professional sightings of what could be described as drones, which is what they just look like. They had the same type of navigating lights for the most part that are typically associated with the red and green. I forget how they use them. It's like one flashes when they're going one direction or whatever the fuck. But so many people I know from over here were seeing the fucking drones.
Did you see any?
I did see a couple of drones that I normally wouldn't particularly see in Philadelphia. One flying next to Ben Franklin Bridge one night. But they were just like, it was like a large quadcopter. But besides that, you still see drones once in a while.
Yeah.
I did see a real weird drone situation one time, maybe a different time for that story. But a guy, I'll tell you at a different time, but sorry to interrupt you when you're talking about the drones.
Yeah, no. Please, this was a good shift. UFO, though, there was a time when I was a kid where me and my grandmother thought we might have. It's not that vivid, but I remember us both being super weirded out by it.
Damn.
But, and then take this for what it is. I've never really talked about this. I used to have recurring dreams as a kid about an orb.
Whoa.
Like really young.
Damn.
This orb that could like pick you up and fly you around. And it would be this really intense, like, you know, you ever have a dream like that? Like you're like just above the city or something, and it's very anxiety ridden, like this kind of a mix between a falling and a, but this was like, I didn't really have control over it, but I also wasn't anxious about it.
Yeah.
And it probably was like a few years of it that would come back and forth.
That's so fascinating.
And it was before I knew any of that stuff, you know? I was into it. Like I used to watch, like if it was shit like that was on Discovery Channel, but a little older. It wasn't like something that was active. But when I think about that now, I'm like, that is a bizarre, weird thing. So maybe I was abducted or like just played with or something, like flown around like a doll.
Yeah.
Just like, yo, kid, here you go. You're up in the air now above Bayonne. Look at that. There's Pizza Masters. I don't know. So that is like my most bizarre when I think back.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, the orb thing.
Yeah, it is. It is not uncommon. I gotta send you something about it.
Yeah.
I also realized I should apologize, or I am apologizing to you, and that I kind of hit people with that question out of the left field sometimes, and forget that seeing something that is shaking and that you can't readily explain can be kind of a deeply emotional experience, and just going to somebody and being like, yo, this happened to you, could be a little bit shocking. I should think about that more before I start hitting people with that shit.
For me, it's more, how do I phrase this on camera to not sound like, you know,
like a crazy person?
Yeah, like, you know, which I think most of my friends out there would go, he is crazy, so I understand. But yeah, that is my closest to a bizarre. But I'm fascinated by it, and I'm someone that, like, given the opportunity to see, and I think that's part of my problem is that I'm like so willing to, you know. Yeah. Casey has this thing where she's had a couple experiences that have felt pretty weird, in terms of like energy in a place, you know,
type of extrasensory perception of some kind.
And I'm always like, I want to see a ghost. I want to feel it. Like I'm not down with like rides and stuff like that, but I'm like, yo, if this is haunted, like I'm very interested. Yeah. And I think the idea of being so willing almost maybe hurts my chances.
That could be. Yeah, you know, I don't know enough about it. Yeah. Of the actual parts of different phenomena like that. Just think, but
UFOs
I do
too. You know. Like
for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen shit in the sky.
Yeah.
Despite being heavily reading about it I'm 30 years now. Wow. I'm 40, and I remember going to the Scranton Public Library, and they had a metaphysical section when I was like 8 or 10 years old, and since then I just grabbed every book about UFOs that I could. Yeah, I still never saw shit.
Still searching.
Yeah, still not. I guess I'm not really trying to see it though.
Yeah. Yeah. Never made like a trip out of it, because there's a couple.
I went to Area
51.
Right? Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Which I think is a red herring, but it was pretty tight. There are hot spots for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember reading, I think, that book that you suggested to me, American Cosmic.
Oh, American Cosmic. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Book's
She's got a new one, I think. I was told.
Yeah, she had a new one after that. She might have a third one. The last one was all about different types of kind of communication, and it was really dense, and it was a little bit dense for me, a little bit academic, but I do have to give it a shot to read it.
Yeah. But reading about the hotspots kind of like this is where they all appear.
Yeah.
And then you tie in the drone thing, and you're like, is this all a manipulation? That's where my head always goes. Like, what, with big questions like that, I go, what would a human get out of this? Yeah. That's what I try to start pulling the thread of. Like,
totally. I think it's probably it's probably so bizarre and outside of the frameworkings that we have to talk about it, that the idea that it's, you know, beings from another planet in a ship might even be just too normal. Sure. That's like too normal. That's too much of like what we would do. You know what I mean? I like the ultra terrestrial hypotheses and things like that. Like it's conscious. All the boys throwing bottles. I think they're gonna go clean it up. You bet. They didn't like the
Almost-
ultra-terrestrial hypothesis.
Almost hit. Oh, there's a camera. It almost hit me in the head.
But the idea that there's some type of consciousness or life form or some kind of like mixture of our consciousness, we're all the same being experiencing through life through a different lens. All right, boys. What are you doing? You gonna clean that up? All right. Bastards. It's payback from when we were 12.
Now we got to clean that beautiful driveway up.
True. It was a perfect interruption for me to shut up and stop talking about UFOs.
That was kind of awesome in a way.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome.
Do you like? Are you an Interstellar fan? Do you like
Fucking
that film?
the best.
Thank you.
So good. The
Casey still hasn't seen it.
Damn, it's so good. The soundtrack itself is fucking unbelievable.
Oh, man,
It's so good.
I think I've seen it 10 times at this point. I'm a big Nolan guy in general.
Did you see The Odyssey?
I did.
Is it awesome?
It's really cool.
Damn, I gotta see that shit.
I left it being like so impressed that a human, many humans physically made this thing. Like,
That's so cool. I gotta see it.
It's awesome, and you got to see it. You have to do it as close to the
To the IMAX situation?
Yeah.
I gotta make that happen.
I just love that he seems to be so intrigued with time, like I am. Like the
fuck
idea of
yeah.
like that's why people will argue with me about Tenet a lot. Like, what the fuck?
I
is this?
fucking loved that movie.
You can play. This is the thing about films that I almost am mad about. Like, you can play with an idea in art. I like visual art. People have periods where they're just trying things and connecting dots, and like the idea of time is so abstract that why can't somebody play with that idea?
Yeah.
And you've come up with your context of what he's trying to say to you about it, and that between Interstellar and Tenet, I'm like, this guy's brain is obsessed with time.
Yeah. Oh, and from Memento, like the first movie that he made. It's fucking wild.
And I watched Interstellar recently, and no spoiler if you haven't watched it.
You had time.
You had some Casey. Maybe
sorry,
don't
yeah,
finish
sorry,
the podcast because you're gonna watch it. I promise we'll watch it before 10 p.m. at some point. But that whole thing of it being him,
Yeah.
like the energy is him.
So cool.
Going to him. I love that shit. I love how it all ties into, which is, some of that book, I found that part, like the way she was connecting religion to these phenomenons and stuff like that. There is a very human element to these things that we can't explain.
Yeah.
Which I find really interesting.
Totally. I think that's what the thing that I keep coming back to with all of that kind of weird phenomenon, those things, is this idea of consciousness and time and how they interact. And even our perception of it is so weird. And even when they get down to the, particle level with like spooky action at a distance and the double slit experiment, this thing seems to behave very bizarrely in ways that we can't fully understand. So I love that shit. Damn, dude. Well, we'll wrap it up. I got to ask you the last thing, and that's what can we expect on the 28th?
On the 28th?
At the show, yeah. You doing full band? It's gonna
full
any
band.
surprises?
Full band.
Hell yeah.
I can't say surprises. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that off cam, maybe.
Yeah.
But full band ripping. You're gonna kill it.
I can't wait.
You're gonna have a great set.
Yeah.
Maura Weaver's gonna come in and kill
Hell
it.
yeah.
And then Worse Off is gonna play. They're awesome as well. Maybe we'll have some wings.
Oh, fuck yeah. Get Andy Diamond to MC in between all the acts.
I try to get him to do. For a guy with the personality that he has, he doesn't love being on stage. Like, I don't know if you've ever.
He'd have too much power if he loved that, because he's already so charismatic and great to talk to.
You're right. That might be part of it. Like, it would. He just can't do. And there's been a couple times it's happened, and it's usually like a rare instance. I do know he was in a gorilla suit once in Spain. That's his own story to tell. Like, opening for Foo Fighters, I think was the whole. That's his story. I wasn't there for that, but he was on stage for that. I got him up in the Santa suit once. He used to roll around the Court Tavern for Christmas shows in his full Santa suit.
Incredible. Hell yeah.
So when we did the Scandals reunion, Court Tavern reunion, threw the Santa suit on.
Unbelievable.
got
That's
up
amazing.
there.
Beard and everything?
Oh yeah, he does
Hell
the full
yeah.
full on, the whole thing. It's commendable. But yeah, maybe we can get him. We can get him.
Maybe we get him up
into
on stage.
something,
That'd be
I think.
awesome. Hell yeah. With that, I want to thank you so much for joining me for the return to the podcast after all these years.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for asking me to play the show. I'm fucking stoked. And congrats on the record.
Thanks, bud.
Hell yeah, dude. Cheers, man. Dude, wait. Cheers, my pulse. Nice, dude. Thank you so much.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Let's clean up that porch.
Yeah.